Okay, you know the rules. Robots paint, you guess, and I do give some clues along the way. We are going to be doing the top 20 things that we miss about growing up in the 1960s and 70s. So look at the pictures, but also listen to my clues. Number 20, spontaneous gatherings filled with music and laughter. And again, we're kind of looking mostly for activities, probably, right? Activities, things we used to be able to do in the 60s and 70s. Everyone brought homemade dishes to share. Streets were closed off and a celebration without needing any permits. Imagine, no permits. Kids played freely while adults socialized. Now, what do we call this? What did we call this in the 60s and 70s? It was a time when everyone knew their neighbors. Baby Padow's in the house. Yeah, he's in the house with the right answer. Very good. Yeah. Hey, Aaron, how you doing? Neighborhood block party. Things we missed from our childhood, the 1960s and 70s. That is exactly correct. Did you know that block parties help build a strong sense of community, especially in suburban areas? Now, does anybody still have block parties? They're rare. They're rare. All right, let's move on to number 19. Things we miss from the 1960s and 70s. Now, this is not an activity. This is a place. It's a favorite hangout for music lovers, offering endless browsing. The aroma of vinyl mixed with musty paper sleeves. Yeah, most of the ones I remember are pretty musty. Finding rare imports and limited edition albums. Knowledgeable store owners recommending hidden gems. Who knows where this place is? Yeah, that's right, Mandel. You're good at this, remembering from the 60s and 70s. Hey, Aaron, you got it too. Very good. Very good. A social hub where you might hear your next favorite song. There you go, the old record stores. Some record stores even hosted in-store performances by local bands. Now, do you remember that? We actually had one, in Cedar City, Utah, when we lived up there. There was an old throwback store that tried to be just like the stores from the 60s. And they did all those things. Yeah, the clues are these are going to be kind of easy with the clues, but that's all right. We don't mind an easy category now and again. All right, number 18. Favorite activity. Waking up early to secure the best spot on the floor. Cereal bowls in hand, kids immerse themselves in animated adventures. It was a special TV block just for kids, no adults allowed. Shows like Scooby-Doo and the Jetsons brought families together. Yeah, okay, Aaron, you had it, but I like Madow's answer a little better. That Saturday morning cartoon block was the thing, right? We all look forward to that. The one time you didn't have to rush through breakfast. You just ate it, watching TV. So I already made a little video of these 20 items in a countdown format on YouTube, and they don't show it. And I don't know if it's because I have some kids pictured, and so they don't like showing things that have kids. I don't know. They're AI kids, so there's that. the tradition of Saturday morning cartoons faded as cable TV became more widespread. Too many choices, I guess, huh? I guess that's the reason. I don't know. Number 17. Now, these are things, and it's a two-part answer. There's an object, and then kind of like a weird function. Waiting patiently for the dial tone to return to position after each number. Shared lines meant eavesdropping was all too common. Conversations stretched as far as the coiled cord allowed. The satisfying click sound while dialing. Memorizing numbers instead of relying on contact lists. So that's different, right? You had to have it written down somewhere. Anyway, what is that thing? What is that thing called? Yeah, Bedell has it. And then, so that's a rotary phone. And then I don't know if you remember the phone lines. What was it that was unique about most phone lines back then? Not all, but most. If I remember, something very unique, and it seems kind of weird now, although it's kind of like a YouTube chat room, I guess. Yeah, that's right, Aaron. That's right. Rotary phones and party lines. Those were fun things we remember. Rotary phones remain in use in some areas. Oh, they remained in use well into the 1980s, into the 80s. Anyway, yeah, it was weird, right? How far you went, that's the number. Weird. Anyway, this is an activity. Young collectors were fascinated by something. Finding rare something felt like a treasure hunt. Many items held stories from historical events. Trading duplicates with friends was often part of the fun. Hobbies often sparked an interest in geography and history. Yeah, hey Jason, what's going on? Yeah. In the old days, you could get on there and just listen to whatever your neighbors were doing. Yeah, so we're trying to get two hobbies that kind of go together. So young collectors were fascinated by colorful stamps from distant lands. And then finding rare coins felt like a treasure hunt. So yeah, stamp collecting and coin collecting. The kid with the bow tie is doing both. Did you know that some collections started as school projects and then grew into lifelong passions? Some people still do it today. There you go. This is one of my favorites. We have quite a few of my favorites in here, but this is definitely one of them. Watching movies under the stars from your car. The sound of gravel crunching on as cars arrive, right? They were always gravel parking lots. Tiny speakers. Oh my God. Let's talk about the speakers. Hanging out the car window. Kids in pajamas. That was a rule, right? Kids in pajamas eating popcorn in the back seat. Right. Yes, you are correct, Aaron. We are at the drive-in theater. Double features that lasted well past bedtime. That was one of the good parts, right? Got to stay up late that night. I think I remember as a kid, we usually had a back that could fold down or whatever, and pajamas and sleeping bags, and I'd always crash for that second movie. Just too used to playing too hard during the day. Right? Anyway, you guys all know this is the drive-in theater, and drive-in theaters peaked in popularity during the 1950s and 60s, but many remained open through the 70s. And I can remember taking my kids even. So I don't know when that would have been. 90s? In the 90s. There you go. All right, number 14. So this is a thing. Flipping through pages filled with carefully arranged snapshots. Each photo had handwritten captions or dates. The crackle of plastic covers when turning pages. Yeah. Crackle of plastic covers. Yeah. Real photo albums is what we're looking for. Tangible photo albums, excuse me. Families gathered to relive vacations and holidays. So yeah, everybody sits around and looks at the album together. Good old days. Physical prints that faded over time, but they held precious memories. And then, you used to use that kind of glue, that weird kind of glue, stick them on, and that only lasted 5 years, maybe. You had to glue them again. You remember that? What kind of glue was that? What kind of glue was that? That was weird. What did they call it? Did they call it any kind of special glue? I can't remember. Many families kept multiple albums organized by events or family members. Yeah, a lot of people had a lot of albums. Yeah, so, and some people still have quite a few of them. Other people, have sent away to go digital, right? Now, this is one of the things that you'll remember from the 60s and 70s. Lunchboxes with colorful characters and matching thermos. So I want to hear from you guys what lunchbox you guys had when you were a kid. Did you guys have those metal lunchboxes? And if you did, what was the subject matter on your lunchbox? Sandwiches wrapped in wax paper, sometimes a little squishy. Fruit snacks, homemade cookies, and maybe a note from mom. Well, I don't think I got notes from mom. I'm not sure about that. Like, I would be really sad if I got like carrot sticks or something. Ugh. Trading snacks with classmates during lunchtime. Yeah, that was a good thing. So Scooby-Doo was a favorite, huh? Very good. I can't, I'm having a hard time remembering, but it was like rocket kind of stuff that I had. I might have even had like a Howdy Doody or something. I'm old. So what we were looking for was homemade school luncheon. Was really our answer we were looking for. Many lunchboxes from the era are now valuable collectibles. Did you know that? You still got them? They're collectibles. There you go. You'll have to go out and get some more. I bet they got those at the swap meet over in Pickens, huh, Aaron? I bet they do. All right, this is kind of a thing. Teenagers, and it's an activity too. Teenagers working weekends just to afford gas and parts. Roaring engines echoing through the neighborhood. Classic rides like Mustangs, Camaros, and GTOs ruled the roads. Car shows and cruise nights were a major social event. So I'm kind of looking for the cultural thing and the broad name of the type of car. That's what I'm really looking for. Custom paint jobs, chrome detailing, and loud exhaust were prized. Yeah, cruising's good, and hot rod. Really, those are almost the two answers. Hey, Marcos, what's going on? Good to see you. We are doing, in case you didn't know, we're reliving our childhoods through questions. The answer I'm looking for is car culture and muscle cars. Yeah, so you got it exactly, Aaron. Very good, muscle cars. Yeah, yeah. I think we're just surrounding each one of these. We're just trying to relive our past. All right, now this is an interesting one. I'm looking for a specific thing, but it's not an object thing. It's something you do. All right. Songs played in your honor felt extra special. Romantic shout outs and birthday wishes were made public. So looking for the generic name for the doing this or what this is. Waiting eagerly to hear your name and dedication on the air. Yeah, hey Erwin, what's going on? Up next, good to see you. Yeah, that's pretty much. I'm looking for something specific though. So, what is this thing that you do? What do they call that thing? Yeah, Aaron's all over it. Okay, between the two of you, I don't need to be so picky, do I? The thrills of hearing a personal message broadcast to the whole town. So this, what the robots would like us to say is radio dedications. Radio dedications. Many stations kept tapes of popular dedication shows, some of which still survive today. So it was like Wolfman Jack, right? Was a big dedication show. Yeah, what's going on tonight? Got kind of a fun, different category going right now. This is a favorite one. So I'm looking for the generic name of this activity or what this is. It's yeah, the plural now. Kickball tournaments during recess that seemed epic. Red Rover, dodgeball were all teamwork and toughness. Sidewalk chalk art competitions between friends. No need for gadgets, just a ball or some chalk was enough. Rivalries carried over from one day to the next. So, what would we call this thing generically? What would be the generic name of all the stuff you see in that picture? What are? Yeah, okay. I that's close enough here. The robots are looking for schoolyard games, and playground games is certainly close enough. Some of these classic games are still taught in physical education classes today. And yeah, so that's something that was different, right? In our childhood, well, all these things, if you were to add them all up, just imagine what a difference it is, right? It's amazing. Now, here's something very specific that most of us had to do. Now, this is if we're older. This is the original calculator for math class. It was before there were any electronics. Students took pride in mastering complex equations manually. Complex equations. A true symbol of being academically inclined. If you could use this thing, you were going places. Teachers often gave demonstrations of how to use it, if they knew how to use it. Oh, Erwin, you're really old. Actually, I do remember them teaching us how to use an abacus because it was actually easier to use than this thing. Engineers and scientists relied on not a protractor. Protractors were very valuable in my studies in beginning of drafting in architecture. Manual drafting. Hey, what's up? Good to see you. Always doing. There you go. That's the answer I was looking for, Aaron. You gotta learn how to use the slide. Engineers and scientists relied on slide rules well into the 1970s. And then what? Texas Instruments and HP started making those damn calculators with the functions in them. All right, I'm looking for a thing. A thing here. Instant gratification in a world before digital photos. This was like a shocking thing that you didn't have to send it in and wait 2 weeks. Shaking the picture as it developed in your hand, you could capture candid moments at parties and family gatherings. There you go. Yeah, you guys all know. You guys all know. Did you have one? Who? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you had a Polaroid camera. Polaroid camera. Faded colors and slightly blurred edges added to their charm. Yeah, they had a certain color signature, didn't they? The iconic white border. Yes, the white border became part of the aesthetic. Yeah. Did you guys have one? I did later on. There was a period they had them around for 10 years, let's say, and then all of a sudden they made some cheaper ones that kids could have and stuff. And I had one of those. I don't know what year that was, but eventually I had one of those. Alex, what's going on, man? Good to see you. All right, I'm looking for two answers that they're related to each other. You find one at the other. You would walk to the corner store with just a few coins. Glass jars filled with colorful sweets like jawbreakers and licorice. Yeah, they keep everything in these glass jars and you just grab them right out of the glass jars, right? And so I'm looking for kind of like how much do those little candies cost? And what were the stores called where you got them? Chatting with the shop owner while picking out treats. A simple pleasure that felt like a big adventure. Tetro! What's going on, man? That little guy could be like the little guy. This is like in the 1960s. Yeah, the dime store, the nickel and dime, or how about penny candy? Because that's what they cost, like 1 penny per candy. And some of the stores were called soda fountains, or they had, if they were a dime store, they'd have a soda fountain in the store, right? Over in the side or corner. Some old-fashioned soda fountains are still operating as nostalgic cafes today. There you go. We're down to number 6. This category is mercifully coming to an end. All right, this is a thing. We all had them. The tactile thrill of unwrapping a new blank and examining the cover art. Carefully placing the needle on to avoid scratches. You got to be careful putting the needle on it. And you got to buy new needles, right? That was one of the big problems. You had a worn out needle. Yeah, that's correct. That's good. Memorizing every word and guitar riff from your favorite bands. Reading the liner notes while the album spun on the turntable. And so the answer we're looking for is vinyl records and or LPs. There you go. Gramophone. There you go. I like that. Record player. That's another good name for it. Yeah, definitely. What else do they call those things? That looks like a modern one in this picture, though. This is the AI art, and so I think the AI does sometimes mix up. Here is. It doesn't remember history perfectly. All right, down to number 5. All right, this is the thing that these people are watching. So, family gatherings around the TV for shows like the Ed Sullivan Show. So, I'm looking for the generic name of what these shows. Sketch comedy, celebrity guests, and live musical performances. Laughing at Carol Burnett's iconic skits. You remember all this stuff? All this stuff sounds familiar, right? Excitement when your favorite band performed live. It's a mix of music, comedy, and dance, all in one show. It is the boob tube. And Aaron has the precise answer for us. Not sitcoms, although sitcoms were fun to watch too. But the old variety shows, right? Carol Burnett. There were others, right? Name some other variety shows. Andy Williams Show, Glenn Campbell Show. Even what about before that? Even who else? Bob Newhart. No, that was a sitcom. Bob Hope, I guess. Variety shows were replaced in popularity by sitcoms and reality TV in the 1980s. So it went variety shows, sitcoms, reality TV. Kind of went downhill. That's Mother Brothers, Sonny and Cher. Exactly right. Okay, now this is maybe one of my favorite ones. These last few are, I remember all of them. So I'm looking for kind of like an activity, but then tell me more about it. Tell me more about the activity. Exploring the entire neighborhood without adult supervision. No helmets. No cell phones. Just the wind in your hair. Racing friends to the park or the corner store. Fixing flat tires with a patch kit. That was always a tough deal. Getting back home just as the street lights came on. Now, do you remember that? So, what is this activity? Yeah, and the robots like to say riding bikes everywhere, which was true, right? You were no limits. And as you got braver, you go a little further. You got a bike. Depends on how many kids there were too, right? But everybody ride the bike and then throw them on the ground, Or if they had a kickstand. Some people had kickstands back then, right? Kickstands were not uncool until later. It's like during the 80s or something, you couldn't do any or 70s, you couldn't do kickstands, but in the 60s, you could do kickstands. All right, this is an activity. You would pack the station wagon with coolers, blankets, and board games. And this is a specific season activity. Windows down, singing along to the radio. You would. What are some of the activities that you would do to kill time inside the car? I'd like to know that. What kind of games would you play? So the overall answer right now is summer road trips. You're packing up to go away for a week to go to Aunt Betty's or wherever it is you're going. And what are the different games you would play when you were in the car with brother, sister, whoever, mom, dad? What would they sing along? That's one game you'd play. Any other games? What do you remember doing? The activities besides like slugging your sister in the harbor? That doesn't count. Yeah, a punch buggy, right? Was that when you saw a Volkswagen? 20 questions. That's a good one. Yeah. You remember something called I Spy? Remember something called I Spy? I Spy this, I Spy that. Anyway, Road trips became more common as the U.S. highway system expanded in the 50s and 60s. There you go. Okay, here's another activity that's pretty similar. Good-natured competition, leading to plenty of laughter. I guess I'm looking for a thing that is an activity thing. That makes sense? Arguments overruled, followed by lighthearted reconciliation. That sounds familiar. Homemade snacks and drinks on the coffee table, creating inside jokes that lasted for years. There you go, England. Very good. Very good. Now, if I did these same questions where my wife and I used to live in Utah, they're very familiar with it. And most of us growing up in the 60s and 70s were too. So we often say that most things in Utah are 20 to 30 years behind the rest of the country. Anyway, yeah, family game night is the exact right answer. You had it. Some classic board games from the 60s and 70s remain bestsellers today. Anybody have a favorite game that you used to play? All right, we're down to the last one, and I'm looking for a specific title for this because the specific title is what's important. All right, so the specific title is super important in this. Leaving the house after breakfast and not returning until dinner. This is part of it. Building fort, climbing trees, and creating imaginary world. Roaming the neighborhood with a pack of friends. No cell phones or GPS, just pure freedom. Inventing games on the spot and making the most of summer days. Now, what do we call this? What did we call it? Or what's so good about what this was? What is it about it that was the best angle? It's play, right? We're playing, but a specific type of play. It is what kind of play? That's the answer I'm looking for. Modern parenting norms have shifted, but some communities are reviving the spirit of childhood play, right? That's weak. I'm looking for the strong answer. Unsupervised play. Unsupervised play. So, some communities are reviving the spirit of unsupervised play.